Everything around me was on fire, and I drove my car through fire, and my house was still standing. 2 hours later, my house burned.
Everything I owned was gone.
This is what so many people here in hard-hit Altadena, unfortunately, are going to be coming home to.
It's gone, so we know that.
Next thing you know, I'm homeless and a refugee.
You think of all the memories and hangouts with friends as a kid, and it's absolutely devastating. I'm heartbroken.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Elizabeth Cook.
I'm Ann Makovec, and it is really tough to even try to wrap your head around the sheer scope of the devastation in Los Angeles right now. Thousands upon thousands of homes that have burned to the ground. Firefighters are just starting to make some progress against these deadly wildfires, trying to take advantage of the break in the winds today, but dangerous fire conditions are expected yet again next week, so the window of time is very short. There are at least 5 active wildfires burning right now across the Los Angeles area. The biggest concern for fire crews, the Palisades Fire and the Eaton Fire. Here's what we know so far. There have been 11 confirmed deaths, but that number is expected to rise as emergency workers go through more of the rubble. More than 12,000 homes have been destroyed. More than 30,000 acres in total have burned. That is about the size of San Francisco. There are 7,500 state personnel deployed to battle those fires, including the California National Guard. The Palisades Fire, which broke out Tuesday morning in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood, has exploded to more than 20,000 acres. Right now, it is 8% contained. But this video shows it is growing to the unincorporated community of Topanga that is in western Los Angeles County. Here's a closer look at the damage in the Palisades area from above. You can see rows upon rows of destruction, while some homes in the wreckage remain relatively untouched. Take a look at the map here of the Palisades Fire. You can see that inferno reaching right up to the ocean, stretching from Malibu all the way down the coast. Further inland, we're also seeing the destruction from the Eaton Fire. That fire has burned more than 13,000 acres, but firefighters say they have made significant progress today. It is now 3% contained. Well, that Eaton Fire broke out Tuesday night in Altadena and spread to Pasadena. It's destroyed more than 7,000 structures so far. Some people are returning to their property to find nothing left.
What are you looking for? Anything. Anything, Really for my kids. Because she had a lot of memorabilia. Man, I'm 63 years old. I can give her really, but she growing up, had a lot of pictures. And I can't get that back for her.
Meantime, evacuations have been lifted for the Kenneth Fire that broke out near homes in the West Hills yesterday. Here is a look at the aftermath of that. Police questioning someone right now who witnesses say started that fire intentionally. This new fire broke out in Granada Hills this morning, and thankfully it did not pose much of a threat to homes. Forward progress has been stopped, and evacuation orders there have been lifted. Take a look at the satellite images right now before and after the fires. Again, you can see the destruction of the homes there. Entire neighborhoods are gone. Today, the state issued a 1-year moratorium on insurance companies canceling or non-renewing residential insurance policies for people affected by the fire, because insurance is going to be another disaster we're all going to be dealing with here in California in the aftermath. Reporter Tom Hansen visited an evacuation center that's housing 1,200 people displaced by the Eaton Fire. And there he met a jazz musician who lost not just his home, but his entire body of work.
One night you're on top of the world, 2 sold-out shows, and next thing you know, I'm homeless and a refugee.
Oh my God, it's all gone.
Dale Fielder never imagined leaving the magical place he called home.
When I moved there 16 years ago, my wife said, well, can you see yourself here in 5 years? It's like, you can bury me in that backyard.
The professional musician and owner of an independent jazz label lost nearly everything in the fire, including his instruments.
There was so much love in this house just to see it like this.
Fielder says Altadena was more than a home. It was a connection to a strong African-American history. Many black families have lived in Altadena for generations, and Fielder says the community celebrated artists. Now he fears it all could be lost forever.
It's nothing. Everything is just burnt. And what wasn't burnt was in the process of being burnt. And just to think it's never going to be like that again.
And understandably, Fielder is devastated. He says that having to start over in his 60s is going to be incredibly difficult. So difficult that he and his wife are even considering leaving the state altogether. And as we've driven through these communities, we have seen scene after scene just like this one, meaning no doubt there are more gut-wrenching stories coming out of Altadena.
Well, CBS is partnering with the Red Cross to try to raise money for people impacted by the Southern California wildfires. You can go to redcross.org/CBS to donate or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. You could also text Red Cross to 90999 to make an automatic $10 donation. Well, still ahead, back to Southern California, the images coming out of there feeling all too familiar for a lot of people around the Bay Area. We are revisiting Coffee Park, about how they rebuilt after a fire tore through their community. National Guard troops have been deployed to LA to help keep the peace. They are keeping an eye out for looters. At least 20 arrests have been made since these fires started earlier this week. The fire evacuation zones are under a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. Also in Southern California, amidst all the devastation, we have seen the community coming together. There's some video of a massive donation site at the Rose Bowl that began as a couple of hot dog carts. A TikTok personality says he went down to the Rose Bowl to give out food to wildfire victims. Millions tuned into his live stream and donations began flooding in. Neighbors say they're giving whatever they can to try to help out.
I was watching the news this morning, and someone said they needed bags, so we had a box of bags. We had some extra clothes, so that's the least we could do.
The donation site at the Rose Bowl has now become a place where people can pick up clothes, toiletries, baby items, just about anything to help them survive over the next few days. Airbnb also offering free temporary housing for people displaced by the wildfires. The company is partnering with 211 to help people in need. A rescue team was able to save 2 ponies trapped at their shelter after it caught fire. The rescue team says they had to navigate through rock slides, down trees, and burning homes in order to reach these cute ponies. And after 30 minutes of searching, they were rescued and safely recovered. But their shelter was completely destroyed. The devastation that we're seeing from that region, again, all too familiar for us here in Northern California. We have seen entire neighborhoods burnt to the ground, leaving nothing behind but some bricks, twisted metal, and smoldering ash. That is similar to what we saw after the Camp Fire, the Tubbs Fire, and the Coffee Fires. Our Kelsey Thorud talked with local wildfire survivors about what's in store for the people in Southern California.
Many people I know somebody who took 5 years to get their house rebuilt, so.
Pamela Van Helsema says she can't help but feel on high alert seeing the images coming out of Southern California.
I just snap into a vigilance, kind of like I've got to stay abreast of what the latest information is.
Just like the thousands of people coming home to nothing but ash down there, Pamela and her family lost everything when the Tubbs Fire plowed through their Santa Rosa neighborhood back in 2017.
It felt like when, in Wizard of Oz, when she looks out the window, it's a tornado. That's what it looked like when I looked out my window.
Pamela and her family escaped the flames in the nick of time, but their house, along with their entire Coffee Park neighborhood, was destroyed.
It looks like a war zone or like the moonscape. I mean, it's just flat. There's nothing.
It hit me more today than yesterday.
Steve Rahm also lost his home in the Tubbs Fire.
We had my mother-in-law, a dog, my niece, my wife, all piled in the car, and just sat over there and just in awe, just looking at everything that's going on, just what you see today.
Steve grew up in Santa Monica. He says the video coming out of that area over the last day has been devastating.
Places that I played, walls I climbed on, places we used to hang out, and those are all gone.
Steve's been doing all he can to help out and give advice to those impacted by the LA fires. Pamela says she too has been in touch with people down south.
Honestly, all of us just want to help, and we're exhausted by the idea that this is happening to another community.
Here in Coffey Park, now more than 7 years after the fire, the neighborhood is for the most part rebuilt. Both Pamela and Steve say one good thing that came out of the experience is that the people who live here are closer than ever.
You know, it was about recovering from the fire, but now it's like, let's enjoy our neighborhood, because social connection is one of the best things you can do for resilience.
Pamela and Steve know the folks down in LA are still in the thick of the disaster. They say all those survivors will most likely go through a lot more heartache before they can get to the stage Coffey Park is at today. But both say they still want the people of LA to know it will come.
You know, right now it's about comfort, getting yourself a place to live. There's so many more needs right now. Hope will come.
Thanks for watching. You can always get all the latest headlines and weather over on KPIX+. And remember to like and click the button on the bottom left of your screen to subscribe for the biggest Bay Area news.